Hello everybody, this is David Mazga from David Mazga Racing, GO.Flow Racing, and the Budget Pro Mod channel. Well, today I say goodbye to my DZ302 Cylinder Heads for the rest of my DZ motor 302. Stay tuned and I'll show what's going on right now. I decided to sell my 302 heads, 68 double cup, and they're 291s, date code 8. I believe that's 12th month, and I think it's an A, so A's, I think it's a Monday. Anyways, everything is date coded correctly for my 302. I've been collecting cylinder heads. I got a crankshaft there. Let's walk over here. That's the intake for it. It's not the LT1 Z28 intake. It's actually a 64, 327, 365 horse. But it's just before. It's what the intake turned into. You see, it's a Winters. I'm just gonna. You guys get a better look here, and we'll go back to the heads. And this is the number on it, and I've cleaned it. I used ultra fine powder quartz sand, low pressure to clean it. Anyway, so this is 327. This is when they use the AFB Carter carburetor on here, and it was a 365. Oh, hang on. We're too close here. Yeah, it's a 365. Oh, go back there. There we go. It's a 365 a horse. It was one down from the Chevyii motor, 327. Mechanical fuel injection. That's the bottom side. That's all been cleaned. I've had the shield. I took the shield off. There's a way of getting these off, and then I cleaned all inside there. So even though the ports, they're all clean too. But anyhow, so I've been collecting these parts. This 302. It's one of my dream motors I've always wanted. So it's I got a large journal crank. I got pistons in here. But anyways, this is a video about I guess saying goodbye to these guys. I've had these heads for a while. I've been hunting for these heads a while. But in the grand scheme of things, I was looking for these heads. So I'm quite sure I'll probably find another one. I actually would like the 4, or is it the 2 to 292s with the angle plugged factory heads, or is that the 462s? I do believe. So I didn't want to sell these heads to my. What this is for that 350 I'm building, that Chevyii 2. I can't find a decent set of heads, and I was going to buy some cheap aluminum heads, but by the time I got all the parts into it, it was going to be way beyond this fellow's budget. So I've had the casting for quite a while, and all I really got into it is the port job, the valve job, I'd say. Let's get a close up here of this. I actually took it to the local porter over in Red Deer, at the Red Deer Airport. Olson, I do believe. I'll correct if I'm wrong by the name. I'll put a thing there. But anyhow, what he did, he used the cutters, and these were 194 heads, and pretty good shape. They've had guides in them, and what he did, I'll put some more pictures in here. Let's get it tighter, but he used the cutter. There you go. He used the cutter to cut the bowl out, to do a bowl blend. Because I'm putting 202 valves in it. There were 94s. You can see the cutter he used. He did actually a really nice valve job. I think he's 15, 45, and 60. But you can see these were 94 heads before. And all I have to do to finish them off, whoa, where'd it go? There it is. Right here, I just got to blend this side in here from the cutter. And on this side, there we go. Same difference. Just got to blend. Just going to blend the bottom side here and into the bowl a bit more. And then on the short side, I don't know if you can see it there. I just gotta. Whoa. There again. And then I'll just have to blend the short side in just a little bit. Just a little bit. The porter said these. He uses a cutter. I think they're the Goodson HP cutters. And same thing in the exhaust. We went from 150 to 1.6 intake valves, or exhaust valves, sorry. There again, he used the cutter. There you go. There's the seat. And you got the valves in for me, but I do believe 15, 45, and 60, or maybe 70. I can't remember. Anyways, and there again, I just have to blend in the short side here a little bit, and that's about it. I didn't want to get too crazy. I just wanted to put the valves in. It just was maybe meant for a stock, semi-stock deal. I will show you the pistons here, but I'll just pan out here a bit. There we go. And so these are 64cc heads. I haven't really actually CC'd them yet, but being the new valves put in there, I got him to keep them up just as, you know, where they should be. So theoretically, because they won't be sunk in, I should be close to that 64. I could check it, I guess. Maybe if I have time before I'm on a tight schedule with this guy. I want to get this thing done here in the next week here or so. So, but anyway, and with these heads, all I have to do is assemble them. All I need is valve springs. Set up the cam for the hydraulic camshaft. But anyways, yeah, this is old school stuff. Show the ports here. Nothing fancy. I haven't done nothing there. I'm probably not going to do a whole bunch. I'm just probably just match port the gasket, make sure there's no interference, just knock off any burrs. I want to keep this all factory as possible. And but yeah, and then here's the top side. Oops. Top side, I did a conversion. I pulled the studs out years ago, and then I had a cutter, and I have a jig I set up in my drill press, and then I used the cutter and measured and made sure everything was equal. And so yeah, I did this in my own. I had a special. I made a special jig for this. I have a special, and I got the cutter for this. Just bought I think it's a comp cam cutter. And then with the drill press, I also tapped all these holes. And then when I put everything together, make sure everything's still in alignment. Make sure I wasn't, you know, this way. After all was all done. These got bronze liners in here, I do believe. Yep. So on the exhaust side, still all stock. So now all I do is maybe knock off if there's any burr flashings. The short side, like I said, I'm going to do the short side a bit, just to clean it up from the bigger valves. Some cold fast valves. I've had these for quite a while. There we go. That's the these are exhaust valves, and there's the length, diameter. These are 11 32 valves. 341 and a half. And it is quite a nice valve. As you can see, they've been lapped in already. That's the kind of work that the fellow did. If you want a truly good, I mean, there's guys that can cut a good valve job in, but a head porter, he knows what's going on. So yeah, he did a pretty good job. And these are the valves. They're nice valves. They almost look like a Manly knockoff, eh? Undercut. It's just a nice street valve. Let's throw it in there. There's the intake valve, and these are also, these are the intake valves. Call fast again. There's a part number there. 202s, and then there's the length of the valve. It's a street valve. I didn't need to get anything longer because I wasn't really planning on racing it. Just mild street rod or whatever. It was actually going to be. It was actually just a motor for spec to sell, and so I wanted to keep it as stock as possible. And then somebody else can modify it if they wish. And there's the 202 valves. As you can see, I was measuring valves. There again. There's the valve job. And these ones got a back cut, it looks like. Yeah. That would be from the head porter. Because these valves are not originally don't have a back cut on them. You know what? I didn't even notice that before. But anyhow, so yeah, so that's what you pay for. Anyway, so that's the intake valve. I'll just throw it in there, and there you go. So that's 190. That's been so they're just nice with the deck. So yeah, I'd say you did an excellent job. So we'll be saying goodbye to you. Bye bye. So, anyways, so that we're getting rid of that. I'll show you the pistons. Voila. These are mesh set of 302. These are the last Pistons Speed Pro in existence from where I understood. I bought the last set, and these are 60 over. Right, there you go. Voila. There we go. 302. And you can probably see, anybody with a trained eye can see that how high the pin is from the here, let's do that here. Here we go. You can see how high the wrist pin is from your oil line. Like some of the pistons, longer strokes. I mean, this is a 3-inch stroke. So, you know, while the other ones get up to here, and even some at the bottom of the oil line, or even part of the oil line. But there's the dome in there. These are, here's the part number on top. Can you see that? There you go. They're 2210 AF 60 over. I guess the medium blast, the pistons, the dome, looks like. And this is 12-to-1 with a 64cc combustion chamber. Okay, so that's the shield, that's the coating that they put on there. You've probably seen that before. What's this nice piston. Well, you can see where the skirt is. Inside here, just trying to turn into some light here. There you go. And then you got the ribbing in there. So you want that. What else? And they've also too, as you'll see, I'll show you my 327 pistons. You'll see they're similar to this, but they're. I'll show you a brand new one I have, and then I have some old ones there. but they didn't do that. But that's where you get the strength of the skirt, and that's why, in a way, that's why you measure the piston here on the side, because that's the high point, and that's because of you got ribbing in there for strength, right? And you can see where the sides would probably expand out, and that's your strength, right? So those are gonna take longer to heat up than your sides. So maybe some people could understand how really your pistons are already contacting on the side of the skirts, right? Because that's where your strengths are. All right, so that's the 302 piston. There's the dome. It's a 375 or 410 dome. I think it's 410. So it's quite a chunky dome, eh? Damn near half an inch. All right, so now I'll show you the 327 piston, and this is a 7000P 30 over. Now this is, you can really tell the forging, look how the forging lines are of the aluminum, and these are 12.5 to, this is 12.5 to 1. You can see how they were finished in the old days, right? Or the older days, but before you put dermis shield on there, they were just a nice machine surface, right? You can see where the wrist pin on the right, you got more room there, right? So this is a better way. Actually, let's do it this way. If I can do it. All right, so as you can see, let's put the wrist pin out for the 327 out. All right, so as you can see, there's a difference, right? And so you can see 302 over here, 327 here. You can see where, you know, literally, well, 1/4 inch right there. All right, so that's 327 piston. This is 302 piston, brand new. And I guess while I'm at it, I'll show you the cranks. Don't want to make this too much longer. It's a 327. You can tell by the large cheek here, and steel, of course. There's your parting edge. It's been ground. This is 1968. It's not too bad a shape. It just needs to polish up. And there's the casting number right there. There's your casting number. So if you have a 4672, you'll have a large journal 327 steel factory steel crank. It's a little bit rough in here. I want to get a polisher and just clean up some of this surface area here, and there's the rest of it. And then on the back of the crank, or sorry, the back pin here, you can see that it's wider here too, and that's, you know, for strength. They made it's a pretty good crank. You'll see some RPMs. These things regularly saw 7,200 to 8,000 RPM. Anyways, so, and if this one, I think a lot of these came to up in Canada. A lot of these came out of combines and thrashers. They had 327s, and they had steel cranks in them. Let's just put it down here. And the back that's the back flange. It's a little bit different. It's a little more roundy here. And in here, so you can see that the back flange is a little bit different on the 327. And it'd probably be the same as the 307 crank, because they share the same stroke, but they have a cast crank. And this is, ooh, she's quite dirty, but yeah, it's been done. It's been sitting so long. I found this in a machine shop, just sitting there. I go to a machine shop and I go through their stuff and see what they're doing, any old stuff, but you can see it's GM. Or something there. One of the forging markings. But that is the, yeah, see, this by touching my fingerprints, I put a little bit of surface rust in there. Anyways, that's the 327 crank. There you go. And I guess while I'm at it, we'll show the 302 crank right there. Let me put this in here. Let me put this up here. There we go. 327 crank, or sorry, 302 crank. That's 30. Yeah, this crank's been ground 30, so it's been ground a few times, obviously. But yeah, there you go. Here, well. All right, so this is the 302 crank, and you can see there's the part, there's the casting number. Let's see here, 11178, I do believe. There you go. A little bit of surface rust. I got a micro polish. Has the bolt hole in the end of the crank. And so does the 327. That's how you know that's 68 and older, because it has a bolt hole in the center. The earlier ones didn't have that, unless somebody drilled a hole. And you can see the weights, how much smaller they are than the 327. Like physically, just because of the weight difference, right? How they're contoured more here, and you see you get more mass there, right? And you have a good, this is one thing I guess we should talk about a little bit, is the crank pin center line with the crank journal center line, and your crank pin here, you get a lot of strength from here. That's why these things can rev, that's why these 302s can spin 10,000 RPM, 12,000 RPM. It's because look at the strength you got in here, right? And then the 327, it's still sharing part of the main. There's your crank, there's your pin there, right? There's your main. But as you can see, with those other cranks, they, as they go out, even like my, right? You can see where the pin, you know, there's the pin there, and there's the mains there, right? So your pin's way out here, so you got to rely on the strength in here. You don't have as much. And then if you go to, oops, these guys, small blocks, even the 350 is pretty good yet, but 327, so you get 3.25 stroke. And then you can see how much the rod journal shares with the crank, right? Up here, a good third of the mains. So you get that strength. That's why the 327s too, when I used to race with and had on the street, was I used to spin mine with some aftermarket GM heads with a big mechanical stick. I used to spin mine at 8200, and she loved it. And then the 302, as you can see, it shares even more of the pin. Right, so you're up to about damn near almost half. That's why these things can take 12,000, 10,000 RPM all day long. So, and then once again, I'll just go over the crank here to show you. It's been obviously balanced before. You can't, I don't know if you can see this or not. Go out here. Go on, focus. That's 30-30, looks like. So, okay, here. So you can see that as a narrower, less mass, right? You don't use much mass. Forging again, you can tell. So, everybody's looking for a 302 crank and pistons. I have a set, and I'll have a book. And that's the bottom. Now I'll show you the back side of the crank here. So I'll just do that. Okay, hang on. We're getting long here. Okay. Get off my knees here. There we go. So you can see that's how the flange is on there. You can see you still got a pilot bushing in there. So if you got a real 302 DZ302 Z28, how you want to say it, crankshaft, this is one to follow an example of. I don't know if they have a casting date on this thing, but I do believe, for some reason, I think they do, and I think I figured out it was a 68 crankshaft. So you know it's a large journal crank. And that's about it, I guess. Just compare apples to apples here. There you go, 2 steel cranks, vintage. All right, that's it for this video. Goodbye. Well, saying goodbye to my 302 DZ302 heads. This is David Mazga with David Mazga Racing, GO.Flow Racing, the Budget Pro, my channel. Peace out. Have a nice day.